Oh. All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Mailbag here, Thursday weekly Mailbag. You got Lucci here and Mr. Peter Zhang. As you know, we got a little new structure here. We're just going to talk a little bit about the markets in the beginning. We'll go through the questions from the mailbag that we've gotten. We actually got a decent amount of questions here today.
Yep.
And then we'll kind of wrap it up by talking about some of the things that are going on in the Sang Lucci world. There's a lot of Twitter talk right now about the markets in general. There's a lot of people that are getting caught on both sides of the trade. Yesterday we had that big rally where certain names, looked like they literally wanted to break out. A lot of people were swing long coming into today, expecting a continuation, and you're looking at a Dow, 200-point down day with literally no relief whatsoever. So, there's people getting tossed around both sides of the trade. It's a tough market to be in. I would say, again, just stick to your scalps. If you guys are sitting on swing positions, it's going to be tough to hold those because, your P&L is going to be fluctuating all over the place, especially if you're long. I still think there's room lower to go down with a lot of these names, a lot of these high flyer names. We saw the banks even come back down today, so maybe that's indication of further selling. You got the Bank of America now couldn't hold 17. So again, just leave it to another day to see what happens tomorrow. So let's go ahead and
chop around a little bit more. I feel like we're gonna just end up.
I think we're going to stall out. I think we're going to stall out a little bit, and then do another rally into the into the end of the year kind of thing. At least I would say. But who knows?
So what's the advice for people if they're just sitting here and I want to go long, but it all looks like shit?
Right. If you want to go long, wait until you watch your option price. I would say if you're trading options and you're swing trading options, you want to go long. Watch your option prices once they get smoked out. You got to wait until these option prices just get smoked out completely. That's when you want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, those who are getting caught swinging long off bullshit activity like yesterday. You're talking about a 50 to 100% slice in your options premium. Just in one day's activity. So, really take it light and kind of wait for things to settle down a little bit before you start scooping up these options, I would say. So yeah, let's get into some of these questions here. What do we got? We got SI. I trade equities, although it's small sample size. I've noticed that there's some sort of correlation between the flow of options and the stock. What's your opinion on that? Absolutely, absolutely. So oftentimes you'll get moves that happen in the options market that influence the price of the stock. You'll have paper, and if you guys remember our SLTV episode with Brian Weiner, I believe it was last week, where we talked about paper in the options market. Some big buyer of calls or some big buyer of puts will come into your option, and then all of a sudden you'll see your stock price move as a result. So this is the correlation between market makers needing to hedge. Usually it's that, but it could be a lot of different things. Pete, you want to add something?
Also, don't be faked out by it. A lot of times people are posting back and forth ginormous size that never get printed in the options, and they are ping-ponging the stock. We've seen this a bunch of times. Some dude on a 30 or 40 delta option is just slinging sides. It's bam, 1,000, bam, 1,000. He's holding the stock somewhere, and all of a sudden it pops, and he just lets go in a rainfall. It's just another game. I think everybody should just be careful. Obviously, learn how to tape read because tape reading applies to both. If you understand auction process, you'll also be able to understand how the options move too.
Indeed, indeed. So we got the next one here. Faisal saying, what is Ezra's trading philosophy? Is his trading system trend? We don't know. We don't know, and we don't have much to say on the algo front. Pete, what can we say? What can we not say?
I would say this is actually interesting. We are actually running something called Transparency Thursdays, where Ezra smokes a J and answers questions.
Yes.
And so we will be tweeting that later today and retweeting from the Sang Lucci Twitter, so be on the lookout. He answers questions from ask.fm. We will be integrating that into the site eventually, but just be on the lookout for the retweets. If you want to ask him that question, please go ahead. Same with the next one. We've got Damn Estates. Oh,
Well,
sorry.
no, that one we can take. That one's a
Sure,
good
let's
one
take
for
that one.
us. There's a Frank here is also asking about the HFT algo P&L. What contracts is he trading and all that kind of stuff. So Frank, just check the Twitter and check the links on the Twitter, and that way you can ask Ezra directly on
Yep.
what he's up to, with the algo and what he's willing to disclose, obviously as far as information. Damn Estates. This guy's a new member of our chat room here. Hey, Lucci and the gang. How much does it really matter from the platforms you recommend? Sterling, Dash Trader, Laser, Lightspeed. Also, which one would you recommend if you had to choose? And would the IB platform be viable for day traders? Well, one thing I want to make sure you understand is that we don't, it's not like we're recommending that anybody, use Sterling, Dash Trader, Laser. You need to be a specific type of trader, and you need to understand what that type is before you start selecting, platforms, especially the direct market access platforms. So if you're going to go to Sterling or Lightspeed or whatever, you should be a professional trader, or at least trying to become a career professional trader, one who trades a significant amount of volume and can take advantage of the better technology, the better commissions, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like we're sitting here telling everybody, all the retail guys out there to trade this. If you trade 10 contracts a month or 20 contracts a month, Sterling and all that kind of stuff is useless. It's not going to do you any good. It's going to be a waste of your time and a waste of money, and it's going to be a lot of hassle. So the IB platform for day traders who, let's say, have smaller accounts, $5,000, $10,000, that shit is fine. That shit is fine. Pete, what do you got on
Yeah,
it?
totally. I mean, like you've seen how Brian and Lucci have had their Sterling traders or whatever the professional platforms. This is when you're looking at at least 4, 5, 6 different montages on a stock. So for heavy day traders, yes, these direct market access platforms are really important. But if you're a swing trader and you're only making a trade a day, it's fine to use a web platform. It's no
Right.
big deal.
Right, and we talk a lot, especially in our classes, we talk more in depth about what really happens to your order when you send it. A lot of retail money does not know what happens to their order, and we are there to tell you what does happen. However, for most retail who's only doing 5 and 10 contracts, even though you might be getting gained a little bit on your cost basis and your order, at the end of the day, you still got to make good calls. You still got to make money. You still got to turn $5,000 into 25 somehow. So you still got to work. So, I would focus more on your trading style if you have, that kind of cash flow.
Totally.
So we got Kevin Pham here. You want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So Kevin Pham's asking, what are your thoughts on the best effective way to raise capital for a fresh startup fund? Friends and family.
Friends and family
first. Friends and family first. Let
Friends
the
and
people
family
that have
first.
faith in you, that are willing to piss away their money and say, give it a shot. That's your first step. That's the best, most effective way. But if you want to take it to the high road and you have an actual, so first is have an actual track record. Have an audible track record that people can look back on. Even though it does not necessarily mean represent future returns, at least somebody can look at something that a third party has already said, okay, these are real P&Ls, these are real transactions, this guy knows what he's doing. You pass that around. There's another layer, per se, say that you have a really, really good automated system. The way to raise money for automated systems there are actually broker-dealers out there that are purely out there to raise capital. This is a cap intro arm. And essentially, you just have a tear sheet. It has to be less than 1 page long. And that's because these broker-dealers go out to the masses of family offices, so on and so forth, and they pass around your CV and your Sharpe ratio and your P&Ls, your tear sheet. And that's another way to raise capital. But if you're a fresh startup and it's just you and it's you clicking and all that, friends and family, track record, those are all good first steps, and then take your time. It takes a really, really long time for the sales cycle of raising money for hedge funds.
Yeah, I mean, I would also add on the top of that is that the current industry and the environment that we're in for the stuff that we do, especially the program trading, a lot of the automated algorithms out there, everybody has one now. Everybody has one now. Everybody pitches one now. I mean, we get hit up on LinkedIn all the time with spreadsheets of data back-tested data, like this is what we want to do, can you give us some money, blah, blah, blah. Everybody is out there doing it. So you do have to make sure you do your research on the landscape and,
Yep.
you know, where your product is most, you know, where you want to compete or who you want to compete with and where your product is closely tied to, you know, so that you can hit the right people that want to invest in your type of strategy.
Totally. And then the other point there is also to think about where our markets are, too. It's kind of like if your markets are slowly moving up
Right.
as a whole entire market, nobody's going to be looking at hedge funds because hedge funds are there for volatile moments. So when there's a crash, every hedge fund's going to look beautiful because they're probably going to make some money. They're
Right.
probably going to be doing relatively well compared to a big S&P drop. But if we're up here just hanging out, you know, and there's no volatility, there's no big moves, and hedge funds have to, you know, kind of lay low, it's going to be a tough environment.
Right, right. All right, so we got another one from Matthew here. I feel like a lot of times I have a good idea for a trade and it ends up being a good trade, but for various reasons, trade doesn't work out, it ends up being a losing trade. How do I make these good ideas into winning trades and not losing trades? It seems like I have the right ideas, but for whatever reason, they don't translate into winning trades. All right, so two things right there, Matthew, that you said, you know, options might expire before the move happens. So number one, you know, try to lengthen your expiration. So go a couple more weeks out or go a month out, baby a little bit more, learn to hold these things overnight. Try that particular strategy. It's a whole different way of thinking, and it's going to take you some time to figure it out. But that could be one way. And the other way that, you know, these good ideas turn into losers is all the mind. You know, it's all kind of psychology. It's like you want these things to happen when you want them to, but they don't, and you're still kind of forcing that side in your mind. So I would say the two things are check your option strategy a little bit and then work on your mental.
And
That's all.
also, I mean, it's about how good do you really think your idea is. You know, like, are you actually prepared with a good idea? Like, did you actually think about all of the outcomes? What if we gap down 200 points? What are you supposed to do? You need to be able to think multiple steps ahead. And I'm not saying that you're not, but a lot of times, again, even with options expiration, it's kind of like, all right, if you know that your option's expiring and you are under the timeline and you're just trying to drain the premium out of this thing, you have to rethink all of it.
Right.
Just in general, you know, just because you think it's a good idea, maybe pass it by a coach. You know, like bring it to somebody to look at and get some advice on it.
Cool. And then let's see. We got Grey Worm here. Isn't that the name of the dude from Game of Thrones, bro?
I don't know.
Remember Targaryen's chief of staff or something? Grey Worm. Definitely is Grey Worm, man. Who's buying and selling during the trading day? Actual stock. He's saying is it big mutual funds, hedge funds, etc. A consortium of the above. You know, you do have your hedge funds trading, large traders at these banks. You do have a ton of market makers trading, and then you got the retail side. So you know that's pretty much the constituency. Then you got the algos, obviously. So there's a lot of different players here, and their footprints on the tape is a lot different too. So tape reading can also help you understand the footprints of each different one. You know, what kind of trade would be an algo trade? What kind of trade would be a market maker trade? What kind of trade would be a retail guy? You know, so you can start understanding a lot of that if you read some tape. Pete, you want to add anything there?
Just generally, when there is the biggest volume, 9:30 to 10, 10:15, that is when the big guys are probably getting in general. They're putting on the majority of their size when there is the majority of influx of price and the majority of volume to get in so that they themselves are not affecting it. Think about a mutual fund, and they got to lay down $1 billion across the tech sector. How can they do that at noon when all they have is a bunch of scrubs playing at lunch and a bunch of market makers? It's going to be impossible to put on their position without moving the markets. So therefore, they do it all in the morning because everybody is playing in the morning and there's actually real liquidity. So, you know, just to provide a little more depth, always think about when there's a lot of volume, always think about if you are a big guy, how you're supposed to get in. If you're a small guy, who would you want to try to trap?
No doubt, no doubt. All right, let's take some questions here on Twitter. We got a bunch on Twitter. We got a good one here from Michael Ches. He was the winner of the Sang Lucci Scholarship, frequent member of the SL chat rooms. Is this Robinhood commission-free trading just a big payment for order flow extravaganza? That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is, and they say it right on the website, right? They say it right on the website.
Yes, it's right there, and it literally says we operate in the payment for order flow space, but you're also sending an order from your freaking cell phone. You
Right.
know, what do you care about 1 or 2 cents? You know,
Right.
you got to think about how order flow and market making affect your trade. If you're not in that time frame, you know, of the scalping for half a penny to 2 pennies, even 5 pennies, you know, and you need to get in for the day and hold it until tomorrow, I think you should be fine unless you're really trying to bottom tick the stock. But yes, anybody on the street right now can pretty much do free commission trading. They don't do that because they want to make more money and they're more greedy. So, sorry, greedier, and they also don't have, you know, maybe a fancy app that Robinhood does. But Robinhood, personally, I think is more of a marketing
Right.
type of deal. At the same time, they're also, this is probably a big play for customer acquisition on Google side, because
Absolutely.
there's a lot of value in just having those customers around and knowing what they like.
Absolutely. And you think about the big picture. Like this is what Pete is alluding to. You think about the big picture, you think about the industry that we are in. I mean, how many brokers, how many retail brokers are there out there? There are so fucking many, it is ridiculous. And how many customers do they all have? And then all across the board, all these customers are somewhat dissatisfied with their brokers. And you have this sort of Google model where you make this whole industry free to a lot of the people that want to trade. You're talking about millions of retail out there, and as Pete said, you got a big customer acquisition model which they can monetize down the road, however the fuck they do, and you guys know the Google model. So we got at CJ Reeves 2011. Is it possible to retape in really liquid stocks? I would say yes, but it's a little bit different. It's more of the of just looking at the flow of your buys and sells, that kind of thing. So it's more of an instinctual thing. So like for example, if you were reading tape on futures, or you were looking at the SPY, for example, or a name like Bank of America and things like that, you still are reading the tape, but you're looking at things a little bit differently. You're just
You're
kind of
thinking bigger time frames, right? Like you're not looking at every single transaction. You're like saying, okay, every minute I'm going to kind of look for this, every 2 minutes or every 30 seconds type of thing,
right.
instead of all that, right?
Right, and last question, we're going to end this up with, we got our boy Ezra at HF Bonds Trader. You can also check his algo P&L, what is it, at X Algos?
X algos, yep.
At X Algos, if you want to check his algo P&L out. He says, how do you stay so fly, man? Pete, how do you stay so fly, bro?
Strong body, strong mind, motherfuckers.
Was that Bruce Lee? That's Bruce Lee.
No,
That wasn't
that's not
Bruce
even
Lee?
Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is be like water. Be formless and be able to be form the shape of a teapot, or be able to crash.
Tai Chi, baby. Tai Chi, baby.
Exactly.
All right. So we're gonna end this up here. Pete's got a little info though about a webinar that we have coming up tomorrow. Also, make sure you check out the website. We've changed a lot. Things look a lot differently now on the website. Even when you go, just check like blog posts or whatever. Everything is changing there too. So check out all the edits that we got. Pete, what do you got for tomorrow?
Yeah, guys, we have a just generally content on the website is actually increasing drastically, and we've actually revamped a whole bunch of courses and revamped a whole bunch of stuff, and we want to show you a little bit of it. So tomorrow, the professor, Charlie Bathgate, and Sang Lucci here are going to be talking about it a little bit. Make sure you check out the Twitter and see what's up with those. Some of these guys are asking right now,
What do you got?
what's good with all those picks Nanex put out recently? Do I need to move inside the radius of Mawa? I don't think you do. You can colo yourself over there, so you're technically, closer in Mawa.
The sniper in Mawa.
Yeah, right.
Love that,
but then there's other questions about gateway setups, Christopher Reeves. I'm not sure, Chris. Maybe you should ask these questions to Ezra later tonight.
Well, no, he's got Ezra on the handle. That's why I didn't take him, man. I mean, that shit is. Come on, man. What language is he speaking right now?
I mean, he's speaking, trader talk and freaking coding. But what I would say is stay humble, my friend. Stay humble. All right,
guys. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
All right, man. Have a good one.